Hello everybody, this is Chris with Overclockers Club. We've got the brand new Yeskamo wireless IP pan, tilt, and zoom 3 megapixel camera. It's the FI362C. Let's get it out of the box and see what it looks like. So here's what the camera looks like out of the box. There's the camera, the adapter, instruction manual, very important to go through that and become familiar so you know all the features and functions. And then there's a little card here, you get a little free gift if looks like if you send them an email. The adapter looks like it's a little charger, like a wall charger, Ethernet cable, and then the USB charging cable, some cement anchors or wall anchors, and then looks like a small base plate, which is probably for, yes, mounting on the bottom, so you can secure the camera. So looking at the camera in a little more detail, the top, the little white circle there, that's actually a light sensor. Then the lens, there's one little IR light. Looking on this side, there's a microphone, and on the opposite side is the speaker. And then looking at the back, there's the port that you plug the USB cable into for charging, or power I should say. It's not really for charging. This does not have an onboard battery. The slot there is for an SD card for your storage to store video on board. There's a reset button, and then you have the ability to hook this up directly to an Ethernet cable to your network. Now the camera does not come with an SD card, so you have to supply your own. Right now I'm just going to use this little 2 gigabyte card just for testing, although normally I use an 8 or 16, and that stores plenty of video, although you can go all the way up to 128 gigabyte. Some other good information here in the specification pages. Here's the resolution for 2 megapixel, 1920 by 1080. If you put it in 3 megapixel mode, you've got 2048 by 1536 or 2540 by 1440, so that's some pretty good resolution. Your wireless is one channel, it's 2.4 gigahertz. And then again, there's your SD card. Max is 128 gigabytes. So I put power to the camera, and usually it takes it a moment to fire up. And a lot of the newer cameras will begin to give you instructions. And there was a little water drop sound. So that usually means we can go ahead after you get the app downloaded to your phone. And there's a QR code here in the manual. Oh, there's another indication that things are moving along. There's a QR code here in the manual. You scan that in, and then you can get the app on your smartphone. Alright, so I have to use a different phone here so I can show you what's going on my iPhone. But anyway, after you scan this QR code in, you install the app on your phone. It gets tied to your email address, so you'll use a username and password to sign up to get an account, and let you load the app. The camera comes online very quickly. There's a series of screens that sort of shows you how to connect to the Wi-Fi, so you need your wireless password. Once that is in the system, you have the camera that shows up, and it comes online pretty quickly. So you can see I can move my hand there, and it's real time. I'll move the camera right here like this, so there. You can see it pretty much keeps up. There's not really any drag or delay on it. Started with Wi-Fi, but I went ahead and plugged in the Ethernet cable, so you can run it either way. If you have the ability to use Ethernet, usually you don't have to worry about signal strength issues. But if you touch the little gear at the upper right here on the screen, this gives you all of your different settings. And one of them down here, when you scroll up, is Ethernet and Wi-Fi. So you can touch either one of these and you can select a different Wi-Fi network if you move the camera and set it up that way. Your Ethernet there will tell you the MAC address, and your IP address is for troubleshooting is what that's usually good for. Here's your OSD for on-screen display. You can set text on the display. The date will show up. You can select the date format right here. And then you'll always, at the bottom, there's always a save button to save your settings. And then it will say successfully saved settings. And then you can go back, and then when we look at the screen here, go back one more. And we'll turn it sideways so we get the full view. And there's the date and time up there. And like I said, the speed at which it captures is pretty darn good. Of course, you have the ability to go to 3 megapixel, which is what I have it set on right there. And then to scroll around, I'll zoom this out a little. You just move your finger and the camera moves around. There's a little bit of network lag there. But you can look up or down. There I am filming. And the other thing I noticed, I believe I said earlier, the manual shows this as being the infrared, and this up here is the daylight sensor. I think it's the opposite. Down here is your daylight sensor, and this is your infrared LED. Because when I put my finger over this one, you'll see the infrared LED kicks on like that. And then when I take my finger off, it should shut off. There you go. Now, one of the first things I did when I fired the camera up is I got into the system upgrade, and I hit that, and it says it's the new version because I did update it. It showed a version that was ready to upload to the camera. I did that. The camera restarted. Probably took about 3 minutes, and it was back online. So you might want to make sure your firmware is the latest. So some of the other things here, you've got peripherals. And this has sound detection and face detection, so you can turn that off or on, so you can set a threshold. When here's a sound above a certain point, it'll send you a notification. Face detection, it puts a box around the face. When it senses there's a face, you can get a notification for that. Here's where you turn the notifications off and on. You can set up the cloud storage. Here's where you format your SD card. Check the status of it. And then flip the screen. So if you mount the camera upside down, you need to flip the image over. So that's where you do that. Frequency, if you're in like the United States, North America, pretty much everything is 60 hertz. The default when I first opened it was 50 hertz, so you want to change that to match the area that you live in. And motion detection here. Here you can sort of set up the sensitivity. So I turned the alarm on, and there are a couple different settings there. You can do a minor alarm. Oh! That is the strong alarm for motion detection, and you can turn that off. Definitely get your attention. You can adjust the speaker and the microphone sensitivity and a prompt tone when it boots up right here through the sound. And then there's where you turn the notifications for motion detection, face detection, or sound detection on or off. And I almost forgot, here in motion detection, there's a feature here called smart tracking, which I have turned on. And what that does is when you move around, the camera will sense your movements and follow you around the room. So it is picking up my movements. I'm not moving the camera. It is moving because I'm moving around the room, which is sort of what you see here. So as I move around, the camera will follow me. And that's the smart tracking. Kind of hard to hold two phones at the same time, but that's the idea there. And there is a PC app that you can download from mipcm.com. It's listed in the back of the manual. As you can see in real time, it keeps up pretty good with me there. But you can do just about everything you can on your smartphone app you can do here. So all of the information, all of your settings are adjustable there. So this is with the image quality set to 3MP or 3 megapixels. To give you an idea, in daylight, there is a skylight up above that is bringing in a little bit of daylight, but all the lights are on in the room, so this is the type of image you could normally see. And the image tracking is on, so if I move around, it will follow me. Anyway, even though it's an indoor camera, I'm going to take it outdoors and just show you some of the images there too. And we'll try to get some nighttime imaging also. As for night vision, the room is pretty much dark. I can't see anything that's going on, but the infrared LED lights the room up, and that's what you see. So this gives you an idea of what you see for night vision. So the two-way audio on this camera is actually quite good despite the small size. That's one of my complaints with other systems. The speaker is so small you just can't get any volume out of it. But the speaker here, you can actually adjust the volume from the app. So when you want to talk to somebody, you can say, "Hello, can you hear me?"
Yes, I can hear you.
So I've got somebody in the other room with the app, and they're able to talk to me. I have a delivery. Where would you like me to leave it?
In the front would be fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's a good example of the two-way audio. It's quite clear, and I'm actually surprised at how good it sounds. So this little camera comes in for around $60 on Amazon, which I think is a really good price. It's a very versatile little camera. You can use it for baby monitoring, you can use it in your shop or your garage. It is an indoor camera. You do have to supply an SD card, so you can do the SD card recording. You also have the option of going to the cloud for cloud recording. The other thing I like about it is 2.4 gigahertz on the Wi-Fi, but you do have the option of connecting it through an Ethernet cable. What I like about that is your Wi-Fi network is really dependent upon how robust your router is. And if your Wi-Fi signal isn't that great, you can have some problems from time to time. And it's not the fault of the camera, that's just the way Wi-Fi networks can be. But since you have the option to connect this with an Ethernet cable, that's always the best way to go if you can. You'll always get the most bandwidth and the least pixelation or any frame skipping that you have sometimes with Wi-Fi. Now this is a 3 megapixel camera. You do have the pan, the tilt, and the digital zoom feature. The other thing I like about this camera is the sound detection. You have face detection, you also have sound detection though, and not too many cameras have that. And that's a nice feature. You can set the threshold, and if it hears a sound, it'll start recording. And another thing is the two-way communication. I had a little example of it there. This has one of the better speakers I've heard, especially on a small camera. You can adjust the volume, you can adjust the microphone sensitivity. So those are some very nice features if you're going to use the two-way communication. So for $60, I think this is really a nice little camera. So this is Chris with Overclockers Club. I'm going to give this the OCC Gold Award. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.